Hi, welcome to Dialogue with Doris. I'm Doris Herbert Robinson, your host. This particular show, we're going to interview Ed Fortune. Now, some of you would say, I recognize that name. And then others of you might not know that name, but you would know if I would say New Jersey Weed Man, or a marijuana reformer, or a cannabis activist. Well, we're going to talk with Ed up close and personal today and find out how he got all these names. Hi, Ed.
Yep. How are you, Doris?
How are you?
I'm all right. Ready to dialogue.
What is all that you have around your neck?
Well, I mean, I have a weed necklace on. I have bud lapels.
Oh,
I mean, I call myself the weed man.
I see
Yeah.
that. And that's what I want to know. And how in the world did you get that name?
Well, originally, I used to be a coast-to-coast truck driver, and I admitted it's in my book that I used to smuggle marijuana from Arizona to New Jersey. The Mexican guys that I used to deal with, they were calling me Jersey at first, and then maybe a third or fourth time they tried to offer me to transport some cocaine. I didn't want the cocaine. So they started calling me New Jersey Weed Man. And that was like 1994, 95, something like that. And that's where it came from. Around the same time was when I first got on the internet. So it was like one of my first screen names with AOL. I was calling myself the New Jersey Weed Man.
Oh.
And after I got busted and I started with the activism, it was my gimmick to get name recognition. And it's worked. Most people don't know me by Ed Fortune. They know me as the New Jersey Weed Man. And I've always been very proud that I'm from New Jersey. So everyone all the way across the country calls me the New Jersey Weed Man. I've been in a documentary in France. I've been in
You had?
I've been in news publications in Jamaica, Britain, Australia, even China.
Wow. But you're known as a marijuana reformer, per se. What is that?
I personally call myself a legalizer because I encompasses all forms of legalization, whether we're talking about the medical front, whether we're talking about the spiritual front, or the social front. A lot of people call that recreational. I don't want to call it recreational because that sounds like you're like doing push-ups or jumping jacks and smoking weed. That's not what it is. It's more social, like you're sharing.
Okay.
So
you call yourself
a legalizer.
Legalizer. And I guess and you've been doing this for years because I noticed you have a web address. You could Google your name and all kinds of things pop up.
It's coming up on 20 years. I got arrested.
20 years.
I got arrested on November 24th, 1997 in Belmar, New Jersey. And I'm talking about the Belmar in Camden County, New Jersey, by the Camden County Drug Task Force.
Yes.
And I came out fighting right away. As soon as I got busted, I wanted to fight. I wanted to argue. One of my defenses was to argue jury nullification. So a lot of people across the country also know me for jury nullification too, as well as they know me for my legalization efforts. And I don't know if you know what jury nullification is.
No, and that's what I was going to ask you. You need to explain to people like me and others.
Well, I'm kind of a history buff and a nerd too, and I read a lot. And as a kid, I read about William Penn. And William Penn is a famous Quaker from England. And at the time in 1670, he was put on trial for preaching his illegal religion of Quakerism. And he argued to his jury, he represented himself, he argued to the jury that the law was wrong, not him. And his jury found him not guilty. There was a whole big stink in the English system at the time. They put his jurors on trial. It's a famous case called the Bushnell trial. And the jurors were punished for saying not guilty. And then there was a big Star Chambers type of legal argument they had, and out of that came the fact that a juror could not be punished for saying not guilty, and this whole concept of jury nullification. ended up being part of English common law. And anybody who studies American law knows that English common law is the foundation of the American legal system. You can say William Penn's trial created the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth, Sixth, and Seventh Amendment. He's probably the most influential American of all time, and very few people even know who he is. But his name is William Penn.
And he's a Quaker.
He was a Quaker.
I remember that much. That's
he
all,
was
though.
practicing a illegal religion.
They
The
called
state
it
of
that.
Pennsylvania is named after him. And like I said, his argument to his jury that the law was wrong, not him. And I've been on trial a couple of times because of marijuana,
Right.
and that's what I've argued to the juries too. To the
That
jury,
the law
that
is
the
wrong.
law is wrong, not me. The last trial I had in 2012, I was caught. I was caught red-handed by a New Jersey state trooper with a pound of marijuana. But that's what I argued to my jury, that the law was wrong and not me. And we had one trial where I got a hung jury, 7-5, 7 for acquittal, 5 for guilty. Because that's a hung jury, the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office made a dumb mistake and decided to try me again. And when they tried me again, all 12 people said not guilty. And like I said, I was guilty. I brought a pound of marijuana to the state of New Jersey and got caught by a state trooper, but my jurors exonerated me, said not
Really?
guilty. Yes, and that's a blatant act of jury nullification.
Ed, what made you take this on? Why the mission? It seems like you're on a mission.
I was, and I kind of got trapped in it at some point, but it all started when I got arrested in 1997. Like I said, before that, I smoked as much as any of my friends. I was, my friends, more of my friends drank than smoked. So I was known since I was a teenager more for smoking marijuana. All my friends, they knew if anybody had it, you can come get it from me. When I got arrested in 1997, I knew that my life and the plans and dreams that I had were now gone. Because when you get arrested for a marijuana charge in New Jersey, you get a big F on your forehead. You get a big F on the internet.
What do you mean
have
F?
on your record for felony.
Oh.
As a felon in America, whether it's for marijuana or murder, it's just as bad as having a Star of David on your shoulder in the 1930s. You're a marked person. And I knew that when I got arrested. When you get a felony for a drug offense, marijuana, you can't get student loans, you can't get housing, you can't get jobs. I mean, I can't get a job at Walmart because when they Google me and look me up,
Because you got arrested for marijuana.
I have marijuana offenses. Now, you can look at a person who committed manslaughter or murder and you think, oh, they did their time, they're done, they're blah, 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 give them a second chance. But when society looks at a person with a drug offense, a drug problem, a drug addiction, they don't want no parts of you. So that arrest ruins your entire life. And I knew that when I got arrested. I had a house in Chislehurst, New Jersey. I had a trucking business. I was, well on my way. I had house, kid, dog, all that. I was living the American dream, and then I got arrested for marijuana, and basically I had my life ruined. But I was angry about it. I came out as the angriest black man in New Jersey, and I started fighting for the legalization of marijuana. And a little guy with no money, one of my gimmicks was to call myself the New Jersey Weed Man. One of my goals was to get in the press once a month. I far exceeded that. Sometimes it's once a week now.
I noticed.
And yeah, people call me a media whore. And you know what?
Media whore, it's okay, right?
You know what? It's awareness.
It
and
is.
I'll tell you, 20 years ago in 1997 when I got arrested, I was a zero. But if you read the articles now, I'm treated more like a hero. 4 states at this point that have outright legalized marijuana.
What are they? Can you tell? Colorado,
Washington, Oregon,
Oregon.
and Alaska.
Oh, Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then there's varying different degrees of medical acceptance in another 25 states, including New Jersey.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me about New Jersey, though.
Tell me about it.
New Jersey, because we had Chris Christie against our medical marijuana program, our medical marijuana program came online in 2010, and it the state recognized that marijuana had medicinal value.
Yes.
Which means it's not a Schedule I drug. Because a Schedule I drug, the very first thing it has to be is it has to have no medical value. And Schedule I drugs are illegal, federally and most states, illegal.
But that's
Because it has
marijuana
no
is
medical
Schedule
value.
One, though.
It is. Federally it is. It's wrong. But what New Jersey did was they created this CUMNA Act, the Compassionate Use of Medical Marijuana, where they recognized marijuana's medicinal value, but they kept our 2C-3510 law in place, which is our marijuana laws, which says it's a Schedule I drug, it's illegal, and you go to jail for it. So we have two laws in New Jersey. So that's one of
what I
my
was gonna
things.
ask
Yeah, we
you
have
about. Two different
two separate laws that say two different things. On one hand, you have CUMNA in 2010.
Compassionate use of medical marijuana.
That says marijuana has medicinal value. At this point, there's about 9,000 people in the state of New Jersey who are allowed to use marijuana medicinally. There are 5 people in New Jersey who run what they call ATCs, alternative treatment centers, where they're allowed to grow, sell, distribute marijuana.
In New Jersey?
Yeah, there's 5 of them. And they're called ATCs, and they're authorized via our CUMNA Act, the Compassionate Use of Medical Marijuana. But our 2C laws are still in place. They've been in place since the 80s, where it says marijuana is a Schedule I drug, and it's illegal. And this is where 25,000 people are arrested every year in New Jersey for that. So under these two different laws, you got 9,000 people over here who use marijuana. It's the same substance, too. It's all the same thing. You can't tell if this is marijuana or if it's medical marijuana. It's all the same. Yeah,
Right.
And for the audience, I even have buds for my lapels. But you know, it's the same substance, but the state of New Jersey treats it two separate ways under two different laws. I would say these are due process violations myself, because if you had a law that said you can make a right on red and a law that said you cannot make a right on red,
Right, which we
and a
do.
police officer would pick and choose who you're going to give tickets to, you would say it was definitely a due process violation going on there. And here we are again. We have this one law, our CUMNA laws, that says marijuana has medicinal value. And then on the other hand, we have this law that says marijuana is a Schedule I drug and has no medicinal value, and 25,000 people are arrested for it. I've been arrested for it. Even since 2010, I've been arrested for it. You know,
Right.
Even right now, I have another case right now. It's in Mercer County, and I plan on arguing to my jurors in Mercer County once again. The law's wrong, not me. And like I said, I've gone from zero to hero. I only need one person. Again, here comes our jury nullification argument again. I only need one person on my jury to agree with me and say, not guilty. And then it's a hung jury. I think just by the statistics of the average person, more than 50% of New Jerseyans think marijuana should be legal. 70 or 80% think it should be legal for medical use. I think on a jury of 12, just with that argument, I'll get 6 or 7. I
That
think
many?
I think I can walk into your church. I think I can walk into your church and ask, who thinks people should be in a cage for marijuana? And very, very few
Nobody
hands
would
would
say
put their
that.
hands up.
Right.
Right. Well, that's what the power of a jury, that's what a jury says. That's what going back to William Penn again. My jurors have that power. All jurors do. Very few people understand that. I'm, like I told you, I was kind of a nerd too. I can tell you, the New Jersey Constitution, Article 1, Paragraph 6, read the last sentence. It says, a jury is empowered to judge a law as well as the facts. So if a juror can judge the law, then I should be able to put on a case that the law's wrong, not me. And there are people on my juror who are going to believe that the law is wrong, and they're just simply going to say, not guilty. 25,000 people in New Jersey are arrested for marijuana. And you know what? I have to tell you something too. Even calling this substance marijuana is actually wrong. It's cannabis.
Yes.
And cannabis is the real name for it.
Yes.
And anybody who looks up the laws and how the laws came to be in America, our marijuana laws. Here I go again. Marijuana was the derogatory name that our politicians put on it in order to make it illegal, because they painted this cannabis, which has been used for thousands of years, they painted it up as this new drug from Mexico, and they called it marijuana, and these brown people from Mexico did it, and jazz musicians, black people, did it, and this substance could cause white women to seek relations with black men. So our all-white Congress in 1937 outlawed it. Like, racism had a lot to do with why marijuana is illegal in America now. If you ask me, it's the longest lasting Jim Crow law ever. Like, here we are, we're in 2016, and we are still dealing with this Jim Crow law from the 1930s. So I run for office. I habitually run for office all the time. I'm running for Congress now. I have run for Senate. I have run for
So what's that
for
about?
governor.
What's that about?
It's publicity. It's
publicity.
publicity for the cause, and I say the cause
And
of legalization.
The cause.
And you know, because if I run for Congress, say, which I'm doing right now, I'm gonna get my free airtime. I'm gonna get the news maker spots. I'll be the voter guide. Reporters will interview me. These issues will make it to the public. And over the years, these things, I think, have helped change they've helped change the public perception of marijuana.
Mindset of people. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at a 1980s commercial about marijuana and potheads, you see the Cheech and Chong guy laying out, couch potato, this, that, and the other, But you know what? Professionals use marijuana. Everyday people use marijuana. I mean, I think that people wear suits and ties use marijuana. Nobody could tell me by the statistics, by the stereotypes that I smoked marijuana maybe about 45 minutes ago. But I don't think I'm a couch potato. I don't think I fit any of those stereotypes besides the hair. I don't think I fit any of the stereotypes about potheads. And I don't even take the word pothead as an insult. To be honest with you, if you want to insult me, call me a Republican.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh my goodness.
Call me a Trumpster.
You are so funny. Oh my gosh! But it doesn't bother you if they call you a pothead.
No, you call me a pothead.
I'll
if they were intending to insult me, I would just giggle at it.
But they do make it a negative thing. But now it's changing.
It's changing. That's what I'm saying. The public perception of marijuana use is changing. The acceptance of it is changing. The use of marijuana has gone from the closet to the front to the boardroom. Used to think of little marijuana places, little juke joint jives out in the country somewhere.
Yes.
Or on Main Street. In fact, here we go. I'm on State Street in Trenton, New Jersey.
And what's it called, Weed Man?
I got the Weed Man's Joint. This is my
Weed
business.
Man's what?
Weed Man's Joint. This is my business. And it's
Across
located
the street from where?
Across the street from City Hall in Trenton, New Jersey. And the reason why I picked it is exactly what I was just talking about.
What? For recognition?
I want to be on Main Street. This Main Street marijuana, cannabis, is Main Street America now. It is the new emerging multi-billion-dollar business. It is the gold rush, the green rush is going on right now. You can say this is America's new age rush. It's the green rush. This business is emerging, which is also why I'm kind of a little angry.
Why?
Because as a felon in New Jersey, I can't get into it at all. New Jersey's laws are written that if you have a felony, especially for drugs, you cannot be a part of our ATC systems. You can't be a part of this emerging marijuana industry.
What's ATCs?
The Alternative Treatment Centers. And like I said, there's 5 of them in New Jersey.
Oh.
And not to be throwing a race card out there all the time, and I don't feel like I'm throwing it out there. I feel like I'm just dealing with the cards that have been dealt to me. There are 5 white guys in the state of New Jersey. They all own ATCs. They all get to sell, distribute, and possess marijuana. But for the 25,000 other people who get caught with marijuana, 70-something% of them people of color, it is a Schedule I drug, and you go to jail for it. You get locked up for it.
So you can't be an ATC?
And you can't be in it at all. And I say it's 5 now. I say in 10 years it'd probably be 25, or maybe it'd be a couple hundred. I mean, you look at Los Angeles; they got 800 of them in Los Angeles.
But you can't get arrested for it.
You can't get arrested for it in Los Angeles, but you can get arrested for it in New Jersey. And that's how confusing the law is. In New Jersey, under the Kumna Act, the Compassionate Use of Medical Marijuana, and if you're approved under our very strict medical marijuana program, then the state recognizes it as a medical marijuana program, and you basically have some protections as far as getting arrested.
Right.
And right now, the number's around 9,000 people. Okay?
Okay.
Very few minorities.
Very
by the
few
way.
minorities?
Very few. Very, very
Are there
few.
minority doctors that can give,
I doubt it. I haven't noticed any. And you can go to the state's website and you can look up the doctors and everything, and very few. The doctors don't want to go through that hoop. So there's very few.
And the money.
Yeah.
And we don't know how much.
Yeah, there's very few medical marijuana doctors in the state of New Jersey, and it's because of the law.
Oh.
And we can blame it on Chris Christie, a lot of it, because he was opposed to it. He put some restrictions in there. I think the law from the very beginning, in 2010, wasn't sufficient. It was a bad law. At the time, people said, you know, it's a step in the right direction. I was one of those vocal people that said, you know, this law sucks. But
you did?
I did. And I caught a lot of crap for it. But here we are 5, 6 years later. A lot of these other legalizers, all these other people who study the New Jersey medical marijuana, they say the same thing too.
Really?
It is one of the most restricted laws, marijuana laws in the country.
The medical marijuana
The
law
medical
here in New
marijuana
Jersey.
law, right, it's one of the
Wow,
most restricted.
really?
But our criminal laws are bad too.
Oh,
you know, if you
really?
get arrested in the criminal laws, just a joint can cost you up to $2,000 in fines, 6-month loss of license. And
Really?
if you lose your license, and then there's other unofficial things that can happen, because then your insurance company, if you get caught in a car, the insurance company can boost your insurance rates. You'll get a DMV surcharge. I mean, it can cost you a few $1,000s. Not quite what drinking and driving will, but you know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And to compare alcohol to marijuana is like apples and oranges. And I know there's a stereotype from the reefer madness. People think, you know, a lot of older people or people who've, you know, swallowed the government's propaganda hook, line, and sinker, they will think that marijuana is worse than alcohol. But no, it's not. Statistics don't show it. Nothing shows it. Only our propaganda says that.
I see.
If you believe that propaganda, then you got guys like Chris Christie who say blood money and all that type of stuff. Whereas most people at this point in history, we know that the government has lied to us for a long time. Chris Christie, you know, we have a lot of adjectives to talk about him, but he could play the part of the emperor who wears no clothes, you know?
Oh.
And I could be the little kid that says he's naked when it comes to marijuana.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's saying these things, and he has basically stopped the legalization in New Jersey with his suit of prohibition, and he's naked. He's wrong.
Here's what I want to ask you before we call the show over. I want to know, what do you want people out there, my audience, to do to help you in your legalization of this endeavor?
Well, I have a couple websites out there, njweedman.com for one.
njweedman.com, okay.
I personally have I've had problems getting funding to support my activism, so I opened a restaurant, NJ Weedman's Joint, located at 322 East State Street in Trenton, right across the street from City Hall.
Look at the credits at the end.
And I keep telling people, I say, hey, listen, just come in and buy a turkey burger.
It's
That's
very
all.
nice.
Just come buy a turkey burger.
I had
That'll
chicken
help
wings.
support
What
chicken
what's
wings
that?
too.
What are the famous
Bumblebee.
chicken wings?
Bumblebee. Yeah,
Chicken wings.
Bumblebee chicken
with
wings.
Chef John's
Chef John.
special sauce.
Yep, I got
Delicious.
I got a guy, Chef John, who
Yes.
who's been known in and around Mercer County, working in several different restaurants.
The vegetables were
And,
good too.
Yeah, and I got him. I got lucky and got him, and he's
Tell
the
them
chef.
how you don't like certain. It's a good restaurant. I mean, you know, pork.
Yeah.
Tell about that.
It's kind of a health. It's not quite. I can't call it a health food.
I know.
But like we don't have pork. We don't have beef. We have very little meat, turkey,
Fish.
and chicken.
And fish.
And fish.
Yes.
Turkey, chicken, and fish,
Right.
and a lot of vegetables, a lot of different ways, And anyway, it's a
Very
good restaurant. Even if I didn't own it, I'd
Right.
say the food is great.
It is.
It's and it's
And the
it's a town.
sanctuary, which is next door, we can't go into now, but you should. It's Liberty Bell 3,
Right.
and it's a sanctuary where people can go to play chess.
Play chess, be spiritual, partake.
Partake.
Yes, there are those out there who know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I have to tell you something. We have freedom of religion in this country, supposedly.
Yes.
A lot of times it turns out to be freedom of religion acceptable by Christians. But the sanctuary, which you just referred to, is called the Libertyville Temple. It's located right next to the Joint. It's a cannabis temple. I highly encourage people who think of the herb cannabis as a sacrament to come and come to one of my sermons.
Okay. Is that your final word?
That's my final words. Or I should say puff, puff, pass. That's usually what I say last.
Puff it to the left. As I learned when I was down there, you said that's the rule, to the left.
Yes, there's
You had
certain
the
weed
rules
etiquette.
on the wall.
Yeah, there's the Commandments.
To say
And
that,
there's
the 10.
The 10 Commandments, like cannabis,
Yes.
mints, on the wall.
Yes.
And one of them is proper weed etiquette is to pass the dochi to the left-hand side.
And we will close on that note. And thank you so much for coming.
No
and
problem.
I know you're going to help me produce that medical marijuana show as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'd be glad to.
Right. And any way we can help you, we will.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do you have any papers?
No.
I think I'm going to break up this necklace.
Anyway, for the Dialogue with Doris tidbit, look at you. Listen to this. This is for you all out there who might not have been able to get with this show, but do not demean a person's choice because we may not be in agreement. Therefore, do not should on others, and don't let others should. You should do this, you should do that on you. Remember that. Okay? And bye-bye till next time.
Come on down to NJ Weedman's Joint. This unique restaurant cafe is located at 322 East State Street, downtown Trenton, New Jersey, directly across the street from City Hall. Come try Chef John's signature Bumblebee wings, smoking good. See what the buzz is all about.